Each day, we wake up in the same room and follow the same path to live the same day as yesterday. Yet, at one time, each day was a new adventure.
But along the way, something changed.
Before, our days were timeless. Now, our days are scheduled. Is this what it means to be grown up, to be free? We shall initiate the discussion with this famous quote by Friedrich Nietzsche, as presumed by many. Although there is no documentary evidence, what matters to us is perhaps more than who spoke these powerful words. Profound contemplation can wipe off the illusion of conformity from the human mind and expose contemporary time's sick reality. The culture, tradition, time, and geographical location are subjected to different conceptions of normal or abnormal. The more one can adapt to and accept the ethics and principles of one's time, the better chance he or she has of being acknowledged by society as normal. The schooling system of most societies tends to turn humans into throngs of products suitable to bend according to the needs of the ones in power. Why do you think your teacher refused your math answers, even though your outcome was correct, but you used a method different from the one taught by them? They use the strategy of rote learning to prevent free thinking. However, experts emphasize the importance of deep understanding over the recalling of facts. Students who learn with meaningful learning are able to problem solve better than those who learn by rote. Conditioning a child to accept only the methods their teachers define to be correct results in adults who adapt to whatever is said by the society without questioning. For they have lost the power to imagine a possibility beyond what has been decided for them. To assess normality from a psychological perspective, psychologist Stephen James Bartlett states that normality is not necessarily equivalent to stable mental health. In the book, Normality Does Not Equal Mental Health, The Need to Look Elsewhere for Standards of Good Mental Health, Bartlett, for the first time in the Department of Clinical Psychology and Psychiatry, brought up the question of equating mental health and psychological normality. With the help of compelling and fascinating evidence, diligent rationality, and rigorous psychological analysis, Bartlett defied the contemporary patterns of human psychology theorists. He openly declared that the welcomed diagnostic structure of mental illnesses, as presented by the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders, is gravely distorted and inaccurate.
Bartlett said that it is nothing more than methodological gibberish.
Never has the case against the standard of psychological normality and against the non-scientific creation of mental disorders been made with such boldness, multidisciplinary knowledge, solid scholarship, and clarity of language. Bartlett further cross-examined whether we can truly accept the psychological sanity as a good convention of mental health. No scholar or clinical expert before Bartlett had the audacity and cognitive disposition to face the persistent consequences of questioning the standard psychological mental health. The definition of mental health that has been forcefully inflicted on us is not only fallacious, but also brutal for humankind in its entirety. One of the factors that makes normality so appealing to us is that to be ordinary is the most effortless way of life. Like most other biological animals, human beings too are inclined to choose the path of least obstructions. That is why we do things most people do and adapt to the mentality of the herd. The inborn tendency of human beings is to obey. The positive side of conformity is that societies can achieve social solidarity without much resistance. But just because accordance to some extent has helped develop communities in the past does not ascertain that it is thoroughly a supplement to our lives. The worth of conformity depends on the society in which we live. All over history, societies have condemned many people who have helped civilizations and cultures to move forward for being different. When traditions become sick, contaminated with corruption, normality begins to apprehend, restrain, and detain evolution. It is then we start doubting whether the modern world we live in is what we desire, really. Adapting to a mad world induces madness.
Do we
Exist in a world
where our
conception of
normality
is diverging
from sanity
and
gradually undertaking
taking lunacy,
does
adapting to
a conformist
world limit?
us?
What has kept us so blind to the sickness of modern-day conformity? When you are born and raised in a mad world, madness would naturally be your conventional way of life. And acknowledging turmoil as it is would be immensely enigmatic. In the current times, to be normal is to give in to the influence of educational institutes that restrict liberal minds and mass-produce slaves for the government. Aldous Huxley alerted humankind a long time ago. These millions of abnormally normal people living without a fuss in a society to which, if they were fully human beings, they ought not to be adjusted. The society we live in not only encourages, but also rewards us for adjusting to the morbid lifestyle. The mob psyche that has been fuming on social media platforms stands significantly for the collective anxiety of the current generation. Vulnerability and fear produce assembling in groups on account of social security. It seems like insanity has mushroomed all over the world.
And
It is we
he who facilitates.
Consciously or subconsciously. However, opposing the mob mentality and standing against the prevailing customs means one ought to experience and tackle the tragic consequences of voicing the truth. More often than not, great minds have fallen prey to mental disorders. The innumerable victims of mental illnesses who desperately try to overcome the predetermined notions of normalcy are continually being isolated and disregarded. But think about it. Isn't it overt to go mad when everyone around you is persistently trying to ensure that you fit into their idea of normal?
That's
why some of the
greatest minds
to have
ever walked the
the earth
suffered from
serious
psychological anguish.
anguish.